It begins with a container that has some seats and somebody sat down, a very short person, and they have probably got a book, and maybe there's a whiteboard, and this closed container is inside another, which in fact is a school, and the school exists within a wider boundary, and there's a playground here. Maybe in the playground there's a little football, and possibly somebody there playing football or chasing the football. And then outside the school you could walk along a path that would lead to another school. This is that typical rival school just down the road. And this school also has a little playground. And as you leave the school, you walk down the main street of this village, which used to be, I guess, the high street. Although I'm told in England the face of the high street has changed drastically in the last few years. Woolworths have gone, apparently Comet are going. And then this would lead back to probably one of the most important places for many people. Excuse my terrible stereotypical pictures, I can't draw very well. And here you've got your home, and in the home that lovely living room with that ever so comfy sofa, little coffee table, maybe a TV, and somebody sat here, 1 foot on the table before he's told not to, relaxing at home. All of these are places, and place was one of the main categories that I understood from the reading. And from these different places, what I drew were things related to that I read about. And all of these were things that affect learning. And I read about things such as objects that may affect the learning. Objects such as the book, maybe the whiteboard, can all affect learning. Even the ball, or maybe if he's playing here in the playground, and he's playing with a friend who looks like an ostrich, but actually he's here, and maybe his friend has got a mobile phone. Sending a text message to his mate. See you later. So maybe the phone is another object affecting learning. Over here at this school, they've got a fence outside their school. They're very protective. That's another object. There's the shops. And over here at home you've got the TV. All of these different objects. Another thing I read about was body state, and how maybe this can also affect learning, the body state of the children in the classroom, that it may be a state of being very controlled or very disciplined. They're not traditionally allowed to run around playing amok, but in the playground that can change, and they're chasing each other or running. And maybe, as they come up to the rival school, maybe here they're shouting. And potentially even fighting. We used to fight. Not me, of course. All my other friends used to fight with the boys from the other rival school inside. And as they walk through the high street later in the day, maybe there's another kind of activity going on there. And that could be one of a body state of exploring. I'm just making this up, but they're just occurring to me. And at home, body state, I think for me at least, of being very relaxed, especially when I was doing my O-level and A-levels. Home was the relaxed body state. Another thing I read about was effective association of place. And I think that was the idea, that you associate a certain feeling with different places, and that can affect learning. So your feeling at school may be one of that this is a strict place, or a feeling maybe of limitation, possibly, depending on the school you went to. A feeling in the playground maybe of happiness or even elation. Feeling here at the rival school maybe one of anger if you're fighting. Maybe one of pride if you won. But inevitably with that competitive school there's probably going to be a feeling of competitiveness. And seeing I can't spell it, I'll say a competitive feeling. Exploring through the shops, maybe there's a feeling of fun. And at home maybe there's a feeling of warmth. So all these are feelings that apparently can affect learning. Place was one of the major categories. The other categories were trajectories. And you can see the children coming out of the classroom and the learning maybe following them and developing out of the classroom. The trajectories offline into the mobile phone, maybe the trajectory of text messages, the trajectory through the path to the school and then moving down the street back home. All of these different paths that can be followed. And I think the third was networks. And I think my picture is already too complicated to add this on. So that's something I should do maybe on another picture. So I drew this actually, or a rougher version of this at the very start, early on in the reading, and it just helped me fix different things that were coming up there, and I kind of added as I went through the reading. And this was kind of a nice hook or an anchor for me as I read. The interesting thing about the reading was that all the way through I was expecting to find out how these things are affected by learning. But in fact the article just tells us that they do, or they are affected by learning. So I guess my next task is to think about exactly how learning is affected by all of these things. Anyway, there you have it.